Israel and Zionism are definitely form of celebration of Jewish supremacy. They say this land belongs to us. Hey, hey. I am extremely critical of Israel, but unlike the vast majority of people who engage in activism and politics, I actually believe that Israel is just a symptom. Zionism, the belief that that Palestine belongs to the Jews, is just a symptom. I am dealing with questions to do with Jewishness. I argue the Jewishness, the ideology that drives the Jewish people, is probably the biggest danger to world peace. Now, I differentiate between Jews, the people. I don't have problem with Jewish people. The fact that a person is born a Jew is not an issue. I don't have a problem with Judaism. In fact, Judaism has managed to restrain the Jewish people from doing all those things that we see Israel, with all those crimes that Israel committing on a daily basis. We never saw rabbinical Jews or Orthodox Jews killing women and children, like what we saw in the last week in Israel, or what we saw in Bolshevik Russia. I'm talking about Jewishness. What is Jewishness? Jewishness is different ideologies that celebrate Jewish supremacy. Now, Israel and Zionism are definitely form of celebration of Jewish supremacy. They say this land belongs to us. Hey, hey. When you look at the politics around us, you find out that it is Judified to the bone. Can you think freely in Britain 2014? Can you say what you want to say without thinking twice? No. There is political correctness. What is political correctness? Have you ever thought about it? Political correctness is politics that doesn't allow political opposition. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the definition of dictatorship. But dictatorship is great. Because at least you say, oh, I really don't like Hitler, or I don't like Stalin. But in the case of political correctness, it is you. It is you who suppress yourself. It's self-suppression. Have you ever thought about it? And why you didn't think about it? Because you're not even allowed to contemplate that thought. Why? Because of political correctness. And now you see identity politics, political correctness. You are basically a bunch of castrated people, and then you open the TV, BBC News, and you see Israel flattening country, and you don't even know how to deal with it. But this is basically what I'm preaching. You have to learn to call a spade a spade. This is the thing that made the West into a great discourse. Our attachment to the Greek notion of truth, aletheia, and we lost it. We lost it. Why we lost it? Because we were removed from Athens and invaded by Jerusalem. And time is ripe to stand up and say we are going down. We are going down. It is a very dangerous politics. You see what is happening in Palestine, and what I'm arguing is that at the moment we are all Palestinians. There is no difference. Our future is very, very similar unless we stand up now. But I never stop. I'm pushing it forward now. I want to talk about identity politics. I want to talk about political correctness. We shove people into identity groups, and what is the first thing that happen? They become victims. Every person within this identity bullshit nonsense is a victim. The women are victims, they're victims of the men. The black is a victim of the white people. The Muslim are victims of the Islamophobe. We made society, we copied the Jewish model of a Goy Jew, anti-Semite, and so on, and we created this binary split. But guess what? The last thing that you want to be is a victim. Because victims mean paralysis. We did it to the Palestinians. We taught them how to go, the Israelis. No. And then the Hamas said, because the Hamas is the one Palestinian group that is not influenced by the Jewish lobby. And they said, no, fuck it. They start to shoot rockets. The last thing that you want is to become a victim. And we victimized you all. Can you see it? It's very interesting. And by the way, you are from Persia. You are from Iran. You are Persians. Sorry. Iranian. Right? Iranians, sorry. Iranians, you are Iranians. And we did the same to you. We did the same to you. The person that probably funds your TV is George Soros.
No.
Maybe you know more than me. There is the Open Society Institute that help the women in Iran and the women blah blah blah. And what did they do to you? They took your society, they split, you are now in exile, rather than engaging in a political discussion that is authentic to your people. Think about it.
So basically, you're talking about humanitarian imperialism. You're talking about that. You're talking about the regime change.
I think that what we see in the West, is definitely a situation in the West, and also in Palestine, and what you want to call it third world or developing countries. We have these Jewish organizations that are pushing for change through women rights, gays rights, blah 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 blah, and imposing changes that are not necessarily authentic to the culture, to those foreign cultures, and they lead actually to further extremism.
But Gilad, I hear you, and I'm also critical of that. But you can't just sit here and flatten and work with Press TV, which is the state TV channel, which takes the camera inside the prisons and interrogates the people in the prison in front of the camera and show it on the TV.
You know, I tell you something. This is not me. I was sitting once with George Galloway.
Right.
He came to a concert of mine, and there was an Iranian woman who came to him with exactly the same argument. You know what he told her?
What?
Listen, it's not a problem. Just pay me more. You know, I wouldn't tell you to pay me more. I definitely don't engage with anything to do with Iranian internal affairs. It's not my subject. I don't know enough about it. I don't feel that I'm in a position to get enough information. I'm dealing with Press TV only on matters to do with Palestine, Israel, and I think that they are doing an incredible job on that front. They are doing an incredible job. I really feel sorry for the British people that we don't have this outlet in this country anymore.
Yeah, but just please don't put me in the position to just label me that I get funding.
No. I didn't. No. Sorry. You said that you are. No, I don't. I obviously don't know. I obviously don't know about your TV outlet, but I know that Soros and Open Society, and you know it as well, do support a lot of the so-called resistance.
But it doesn't dismiss the idea of resistance. Genuine.
I think that it does actually.
Resistance. It's like if you say like something like some organization is supporting the Palestinians, then you should dismiss the whole Palestinian issue.
No. This is not. This is not. This is not. This is
the same thing. If somebody has some interest within the Middle East, within Iran, because of the oil, because of the geopolitics, and they're supporting the humanitarian issues because of that, you cannot dismiss the humanitarian issues. The humanitarian
for sure,
issues are there.
For sure,
the
for sure,
are there.
For sure.
Exiled not because of them.
For sure, but this is the I differentiate between humanitarian issues, yeah, and activist networks. You know, it's very simple. You know what we see in Palestine, for instance, is obviously crimes against humanity. Yeah, I decide, and I'm very careful who I follow on that cause. What is my take? And by the way, I've learned in my life that you don't have to be part of any activist groups, any activist group, let's say, because you are adults and you are entitled to think for yourself. So when it comes to Iran, the same rule apply. You know, if there are issues that you don't agree with, you know, each of us now, 2014, yeah, we are 14, yeah. You know, we are capable of producing a statement, put it on Facebook. If it is well articulated, it will have hundreds of thousands of tweets, you know, within seconds. This is where we are living now. We don't need activists telling us what to do. I've never been an activist. I've never been part of any political organization. Every time I get close to a political organization, I immediately smell the Wall Street funders that are pushing money in. And usually, if not always, it comes down to George Soros Open Society. And in Palestine, we saw it very clearly. We ended up with every organization in Ramallah funded by George Soros, who also invests money in Israel and in Jewish Zionist lobbies. And the outcome was very clear, like the BDS. Have you heard about the BDS, the boycott, divestment, sanctions, which was a very powerful statement in the beginning. Within 2 years, it changed. And they gave on the right of return, and they changed, you know, they gave up on 1948, and they accepted the Israel right to exist, and so on and so on. They basically gave up on the most precious Palestinian principle. Why? Because they got few pounds from George Soros. We don't need this Jewish money.
No, we don't need it either. And,
Fine.
And I think we have different definition of activism. That's why, because activism doesn't mean that you need to be part of a political organization. You need to be dictated that what to think about. Like activism is like from the grassroots. It's what you think.
Fine, I don't have any problem with it. I differentiate between being an activist and being very active. I'm very active. I don't believe anymore in this political thing. I believe that we are living in a post-political era. In the right, they used to have a clear dichotomy between scholarship and activism. Scholarship is engaged with the search for the truth, and activism is engaged with cultural, with political change. In the left, we don't have dichotomy. It's mixed. And the outcome is very simple. We start to compromise on the truth in the name of political change. This is the problem. And this is why I am extremely worried of people who call themselves activists. And I know that I'm called activist, but every time I know that even today I'm very active. I'm a thinker. And if I am a thinker, everyone can be a thinker. If I can think, everyone can think. Everything that I'm saying here is clear. You understand what I'm talking about. Is not above your head. The Jewish racism is so ideologically embedded in this Jewish politics that they cannot even see it. As I said before, the only thing that we can do is to start to say what we think, to start to speak our mind. This is the only thing. And this is the most frightening thing in the Western society. I'm a saxophonist, a fucking saxophonist. And I'm saying what I think. And check out what a mess. Dershowitz take 20 minutes in Fox News to fight me. Ali Abu Nima get money from the Jews. to try to shut me up. No. And it's impossible because I say what I think. Each of you, you're not different from me. Now, this is where we get into this fucking book. On the one hand, you ask us to think individually, and on the other end, you stop us from doing it by saying that you don't want us to think as a. Listen carefully. And I take credit for this realization. When you think as a woman, what is your name? Don't worry, I'm not going to use. Huh? So I call you, I don't know, Sue. Unless you give me your name. I don't just, yeah?
It's fine.
Sue is fine. When you think as a woman, for instance, I don't know if you want to think as a woman or whatever, or as a feminist or as lesbian or whatever, is very different from thinking as Sue. For me, thinking as a pro-Palestinian is very different from thinking as Gilad. I'm Gilad. I'm Gilad. I'm a unique creature with authentic thoughts. The whole idea of identity politics actually suppressed our personal identity in the name of a form of a collectivism. This is very, very important. When people start to think as a Jew, they stop thinking as Moshe and Chaim and Yosef. They start to compromise their own thoughts, their own authenticity, their own capacity to say what they really think, and they start to adopt collective ideas. This is part of the method that taught you, English people, British people, European, Western people, how to not think for yourself. And for me, the greatest thing about Britain and France and America was the capacity of people in the West to think for themselves, to say what they want to say. And by the way, I'm with Press TV because they let me say what I want to say. Because I probably...
Let me say what I want to say. That's why I'm here. I'm not here because of George Soros.
I believe you. Obviously, I didn't know. I appreciate it. All right? And this is why I wrote this book. I'm a bitter opponent of identity politics. It's the most suppressive method that destroyed the left and the West. And it is Jewy to the bone. That's it for today. You can buy my book if you really want to. I think that it's a wonderful book. I myself bought 2,000 copies. I didn't even read one. I'm the writer. People told me that if I read it, I probably no. But you can buy it here or downstairs or whatever. Thank you for listening to me.
Even I've got one and I don't like nobody.
Thank you so much.
I like this one, by the way.
The book is £9.
Yalla Gaza!